Phaeton is assigned number 2 within the Phantom Troupe, while also being one of the founding members. He's known for being the sadistic, dark, and mysterious guy within the group. With the exception of a few word sentences, Phaeton rarely shows any emotions, but uniquely when angered, he tends to speak a mysterious unknown language to vent his emotions. Phaeton's role in the Phantom Troupe fits perfectly for him. As the torturer, he was described by other members as very proficient in it, being able to inflict as much pain as possible while keeping someone alive, in order to extract any information that he needs. Despite his nonchalant attitude, he's considered very loyal to the Spider and his comrades, having been seen with a good relationship with both Sphinx, Shalnark, and the rest of the troupe. Phaeton is a transmuter, and his Nen ability is called Pain Pecker, and basically just turns pain into an attack. As when he gets hurt, his aura output receives a boost and allows him to conjure a suit of armor, giving him the opportunity to use his most powerful move, the Rising Sun. And it's absolutely devastating. It's basically just a conjured ball of heat that burns its victims to death, enemies and allies alike. Uvojin is assigned as number 11 within the troupe, and also another founding member. He's known for being the physically strongest member, capable of extraordinary feats, such as catching bullets with his teeth and tanking bazookas like it's nothing. Uvojin is barbaric and simple, and often likes charging into fights head first without a plan. He's basically muscles for brains, with the addition for being cold-hearted and ruthless, capable of obliterating enemies without remorse. Uvogin is a talented Nen enhancer. He uses his abilities to boost his strength and durability to superhuman levels. His Nen output is enormous, and his control is masterful. His strongest move is called Big Bang Impact, where he focuses all his energy into one fist and punches so hard it's equivalent to a missile. Despite his strength, he was taken out pretty early on due to a bad matchup with Kurapika, and was later replaced with Illumi Zoldyck, the new number 11. Shalnark holds number 6 within the Phantom Troupe. He's one of the physically weaker members, but makes up for it since he's quite the intellectual. Despite him appearing to be the most innocent and cheerful member of the troupe, he's actually far from it. He values little for others' lives, much less his own, making him one of the more cold-hearted members. As a Nen manipulator, his ability, Black Voice, allows him to stick needles into opponents and control them like a puppet. He can put his victims into autopilot and force them to follow orders automatically. Shalnark can even use autopilot on himself, turning into something like a Super Saiyan, resulting in a tremendous boost in speed and strength. Once he enters this state, he can't leave it until the objective is completed. Upon exiting, he faces immense pain and loses all memories of what happened in this state. During the succession contest, Shalnark gets taken off guard and gets eliminated by Hisoka in order to prevent Chrollo from using the Black Voice. Machi holds the 11th spot within the troupe and is also one of my favorites. She's arguably one of the most loyal members in the troupe, but to be more specific, she's most loyal to Chrollo. She would kill anyone that poses a danger to either. Machi is considered to have the sharpest intuition in the troupe, and when something bad happens, she almost always ends up with a prediction that ends up turning true, making her one of the most trusted comrades in the troupe. She's primarily a Nen transmuter, and her ability allows her to create threads from her aura that are honestly just insanely useful, with uses in and out of combat. These threads can be used to bind, cut, track, and even control opponents to a certain degree. Apart from that, they are nearly invincible until she lets go of them. Then the durability weakens. Additionally, threads also serve as a healing ability, as she can fix up minor injuries and reattach limbs with ease. Shizuku holds number 8 within the Phantom Troupe, and while she's known for her forgetfulness, often struggling to remember important details and even the names of people she's close to. Despite this, Shizuku is a formidable fighter and valuable asset to the troupe. She maintains a calm demeanor, even in tense situations, and shows little hesitation in carrying out the group's brutal activities. And apart from that, she's also beloved in the anime community because of her aesthetic appeal towards a certain amount of fans. Shizuku is a conjurer, and her Nen ability Blinky allows her to summon a vacuum-like cleaner entity that can suck up almost anything, except for living things. But she can suck up things like blood, bodies, and even large objects and make them disappear, which makes her ability one of the more useful ones for clearing up traps and cleaning up evidence after the troupe's operations. In combat, Blinky can be used to remove weapons from opponents, and more devastatingly, if there's an open wound, she can use Blinky to suck out all the opponent's blood until they're drained dry. Her ability isn't really that strong in combat compared to other people, yet if it calls for it, she can use her vacuum like a club, Crollo Lucifer is the founder and leader of the Phantom Troupe, holding the coveted number 0 position. He appears as a caring and incredibly charismatic individual, able to attract others to his cause and make them act according to his will. He's an incredible strategist, able to come up with plans and read what people want. When he has a goal in mind, he will do whatever it takes to achieve it, even if it means using people or creating a massacre. Crollo is deeply devoted to the troupe and Meteor City, often putting their interests above his own. As a young child, the death of his friend Sarasa led Crollo into founding the troupe and entering the life of crime under the pretext of vengeance. As a specialist, Crollo possesses one of the most powerful Nen abilities in the series, Skill Hunter. This ability allows him to steal and use Nen abilities of others after fulfilling certain conditions. To steal an ability, he must use a conjured book called Bandit's Secret, and he must see the ability in action, ask the user about it and receive answers, have the user touch the book's handprint, and complete all the following steps within an hour. Crollo can only use one stolen ability at a time by opening the book to his page, and once stolen, the original user loses the ability to use it. At first glance, this ability seems kind of balanced, especially since there's so many restrictions surrounding it, but later on, he gains a bookmark ability called Double Face, letting him use 2 stolen abilities simultaneously and have both hands open for combat. Hisoka Moro is a former member of the Phantom Troupe, having held the number 4 position after defeating the previous one. He's a flamboyant and sadistic character, with an insatiable lust for battle against strong opponents. He will do whatever it takes in order to fight someone strong, even if it means serving under someone else or even becoming devoted to fighting young boys. He might be a little too into the second one, but you know, what can you expect? He's just that weird clown that gets a little too aroused from combat. And apart from that, if you think of it, he isn't really that OP compared to other characters in the series in terms of raw power and combat ability, but that's not really what makes him so strong. His clever use and intellect around the usage of his Nen ability allows Hisoka to go up against basically anyone that he wants, all while often having the upper hand in most engagements. And part of its reason is because of his Nen ability, Bungee Gum. It's an ability that possesses the properties of both gum and rubber. It's incredibly versatile and can be used in an infinite amount of ways if it comes down to it. He can use it to attach to objects, create barriers, enhance his physical attacks, and even revive himself from the dead. Hisoka's creativity combined with the amount of combat experience he has and unpredictable nature makes him one of the more formidable fighters in the series. He left the troupe early on after realizing he couldn't fight Crollo due to certain reasons, and was later replaced with Kaluto Zoldyck. Fangs holds the number 5 spot within the Phantom Troupe as one of its founding members. He's known for his short temper and aggressive personality, often eager to engage in combat without prior thinking. He's pretty hot-headed, yet despite that, he remains as one of the more likable members of the troupe, simply because of his badassery, comedic moments, and that damn Gucci tracksuit he wears. It just hits. He's just one of the more fun members, but don't get me wrong, he's still a cold-blooded killer. As a typical enhancer, Fangs relies on his fists for combat and likes to charge headfirst into engagements. His Nen ability is called Ripper Cyclotron. This technique allows him to increase the power of his punches by winding up his arm. Each rotation adds to the force of his strike, with seemingly no upper limit. This makes Fangs capable of delivering devastating blows that can easily overpower most opponents. Illumi Zoldyck is the eldest son of the infamous Zoldyck family, and also a recent addition to the Phantom Troupe, replacing number 11 Uvojin after his untimely demise. Illumi is pretty much an expressionless guy who often speaks in a joyful monotone-like voice to pair with his twisted and overprotective form of love towards the rest of his siblings and especially towards his younger brother Killua. And that love manifests to the point that he uses his Nen ability to control Killua in order to ensure his survival and obedience. Illumi's true loyalty doesn't seem to lie with the troupe, as he joined the organization upon Hisoka's request. As a Zoldyck, Illumi has undergone assassin training from a young age, which resulted in him gaining resistances to many things, like poison and electricity, while also gaining enhanced speed and strength. Illumi is a manipulator, and his Nen ability revolves around needles. He can use them to alter his appearance, or control others by inserting needles into them. His most disturbing technique creates the Needle People, mindless puppets that follow his commands until they die from exhaustion. Nobunaga is the samurai samurai-like member of the troupe, as seen with his attire and top knot. He holds the #1 position under Chrollo, and he's also kind of one of the chill and friendly members of the troupe, unless if it comes to business or conflict, which are situations which he could get very serious. Nobu is close with the rest of the spiders, and he was particularly close to Uvujin and took his death extremely hard. Like the rest of the troupe, he's really strong and fast, but in terms of his nen ability, we don't really know what it is for sure. What we do know is that he's an enhancer, and probably stupidly strong, simply because of the powerful aura that surrounds this guy. Pakunoda holds the #9 position in the Phantom Troupe, and is one of the most loyal members, and would even sacrifice herself if it comes down to it. Pakunoda, despite not being a standard fighter, she could hold herself pretty well in a fight. Her nen ability is what makes her extremely valuable to the team, however. Psychometry allows Pakunoda to read people's memories, to expose weaknesses or find out secrets about them. Paired with this, she also has a weapon that she can shoot at people's heads, called memory bombs. If she hits someone with it that previously had their memory taken, it would cause them to lose that memory completely. Apart from that, she has an innate ability to tell when people are lying, so that makes her incredibly useful for the team. If not for her early death in the series, where she ultimately sacrificed herself, which gave key information about Chrollo and the chain user. Kaluto Zoldyck, Illumi's younger brother, is the newest and youngest member of the troupe, holding the position #4 after replacing Hisoka. Technically, he's one of the weaker members of the troupe, and as a Zoldyck, during the first moments we've seen him, he was pretty quiet and obedient. But once he joined the troupe, he started to open up a bit. Like the other Zoldicks, he's been trained as an assassin and uses a unique weapon, a paper fan for combat, which he can even use to cut steel. All of Kaluto's nen abilities revolve around paper. He can create paper dolls of people, and after attaching confetti to it, he can hear everything around them, which is very useful for gathering information. Then, there's Dance of the Serpent Fang. It's an ability where he drops a bunch of confetti everywhere and twirls around and then hurls them at opponents, tearing them apart, and he can even spam this move if needed. Banalanov is #10 in the Phantom Troupe, and honestly, I forgot he even existed until making this video, cause to me, he's not really that interesting as a character, despite his unique design. He's a boxer who's covered in bandages like a mummy. Underneath the bandages, he's riddled with holes, which he uses to fight. Banalanov plays music through the holes of his body during battle, creating different songs with different effects, such as the transformation of his own body or the conjuration of objects. His strongest move, Jupiter, allows Banalanov to conjure a massive sphere after a certain dance and music is performed. This sphere is unavoidable if you're in range of his music, and it will continue to chase its target with immense speed. Troupe is the smallest member of the troupe, holding the 12th position in the team. Although it appears like he has one eye, like a Cyclops, he actually has two. I don't know if it's just me, but I legit thought he had one eye when I first watched the show, that is. Troupe isn't really that talkative, and often seen agreeing to most things said by other group members. Troupe specializes in nen conjuration, and with his ability, Gallery Fake, he can make exact replicas on anything that he touches, except for living things, that is. Copied items last for 1 day, and upon touching them, he can find out their exact location. When he attempts to copy a human, it creates an empty shell rather than the human itself, which is insanely useful for the troupe's operations. Unfortunately, as one of the weaker members of the troupe, he falls to Hisoko Moro during the succession contest. Franklin is one of the founding members of the Phantom Troupe, and he's known for his imposing size and modified fingers that act as guns. Complementing his appearance, Franklin never hesitates to kill, even having fun in combat. He's quick-tempered when challenged, to the point of even engaging in fights with fellow troupe members. But despite that, he's also extremely analytical, even in difficult situations, capable of resolving disagreements among troupe members. Franklin is classified as an emitter. His nen ability, Double Machine Gun, allows him to rapid-fire nen bullets, making Franklin devastating in combat. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, as I want to one day hit 100,000 subscribers. And check out these similar videos right here.